In this video, I'm going to talk you through some of the intricacies of using outputs in our tool builder, passing data between steps, and particularly how to use them in the JavaScript and Python code steps. So let's dive into it. Okay, so I have what is really a quite basic tool here to walk you through some of the concepts when it comes to passing inputs and outputs around throughout the tool builder. And we'll start with an input. So we have a search query input here, accessible at the search_query variable. We have set up a Google search step. You can find these steps in this plus menu, and we're going to pass in that search query user input into the search query parameter for this tool step. So let's give it something to search. How about we do Relevance AI? And so we can run this single step here, and it's going to pass the value that we've put into the user input here into this search query field. It's giving us a bunch of results here from Google for Relevance AI. And you can see all the metadata, the title, the link, snippet, site links, and we've got heaps of them here. But what you'll notice straight away is we try to format these outputs in something that's like quite visual and makes it easier to read the results. But you can always scroll down to the bottom and click this formatted button to toggle to the raw output. So this is exactly what is returned from this step, which is a JSON array that you can see here with a bunch of objects in it that all have these keys. If you're doing debugging, this is usually the view that you want to look at. Also, very simple. Now we'll take note of a few more things here. We'll see that this step has returned not just this list of results, and this list of results is available at this organic key, but it's returned some other things. People also ask, what is Relevance used for? Who are the founders of Relevance AI? Oh, there I am. Related searches, Relevance AI funding, Relevance AI Reddit, and then a more technical one, did we use a user key? No, we didn't. These are all the outputs of this Google search step. But the main one we care about is in this organic key right here. So let's go to the next step in this little demo. We've got a JavaScript code step. So let's say I want to get just the link from the first result of these Google search results. So let's see how I would do that with code. So in JavaScript code, I would get all of my results. And this is accessible, as you can see, at google.organic. So Google, again, all of our step variables as well as our user input variables are accessible in JavaScript code just straight out of the gate like a magic constant. I also have access to search query if I want it. And then of course, we're referencing the organic key. That's the name of this tab here. If I wanted to access the related searches, I could go google.related searches, but I want Google organic because I want those results. And then I want to get the first or the zero index of that array, because again, it's an array. And then the dot link, let me go back to organic dot link. That gives me, in this case, Relevance AI's homepage. And for the purposes of this demo, I'm going to return it as a JSON object at a URL field. Cool. So let me run that and we'll see. There you go. So it's returned an object with URL and then the link. Now again, this is our sort of pretty component. If I click formatted, I get this raw JSON, which can be a bit easy to interpret. Like we see up here in the code, an object URL relevanceai.com. Fantastic. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing in Python, and you'll notice that there's a key difference. This second bit here makes sense. It's very similar to the same bit in JavaScript. Of course, in Python, you reference things like this, but the most important difference between the Python code step and the JavaScript code step when it comes to accessing variables is that it's a little bit more difficult in Python. You have to access the step's magical object and then the name of the step and then an output key and then organic. So instead of just google.organic, you have to go steps, Google, output, organic. And parameters are accessible at the magical params constant, just like this. So a little bit different, a few more steps, but mostly the same concept. And if I run this step, then we should get the first or the zero index of the Google results array and then the link. And there we go. And again, I'll click here and we can see the unformatted version. Fantastic. So now what if I want to get the HTML or the text from this website using our scraping tool step? So we have this extract website content tool step. So let's open that up and we want to get just this URL. You can see that I'm accessing it via Python, which is the name of this tool step, transformed, which is the name of this output key, the tab that I'm looking at. And then because this output key returns an object with a URL key, to get this link, I want to get to .url. Of course, again, this step returns a duration. So if I wanted to get the duration here, I could go python.duration. You'll notice when you use curly brackets in some of these inputs, we have this menu that pops up where you can tab through all of the different options. So transformed is the one that we're using, but duration is here. If it has a value in the state, in other words, if you've run the tool, then you can see the value over on the right and you can select it. But of course, we just want to scrape this link at transform.url. I'm going to reference that. And if I click run, then that's what we're going to get. Awesome. One thing you'll notice that's different though about this step compared to your Python step or your JavaScript step is that we have this output button here. So again, that's not up here for Python. What this means is that this tool step, extract website content, has some possible outputs that we're not generating by default. We're hiding them essentially by default, but you can opt into generating them. We're here, we by default generate all of these things: transformed, duration, standard out, standard error. Here we hide a bunch of stuff. So outputs, user key, use, credits, cost for this extract website content isn't generated by default, and you can opt into it. So we can do that here by clicking it. Now, until you rerun the step, it won't generate this result. So we've got to rerun this step. And now if we go to user key use, we see this checkbox. If we unformat it, we see what the checkbox represents as a Boolean false. So a user key wasn't used, whatever that means. We have sometimes tools that have these hidden outputs. Usually it's this backend jargon that doesn't really all mean too much. That's why we hide it by default. Now, if you want to get really advanced, for any tool step, you can go into settings and go to the outputs tab. And this is another place you can customize. So obviously here I can remove that user key use tab again, or I can change the key from output here to something like scraped, and it accesses, if you go in here into the curly brackets, you get what the possible outputs are for this tool step. So here I'm going to output the normal output to a scraped key. So if I rerun this step now, you'll see now this is called scraped. So you have a bit of control here. And so to wrap this video up, there's one more concept that I want to walk through, and that's the whole tool's output. So by default, the tool will output whatever the last tool step does. Here you can see this scrape key. That's because if you go to configure, by default, we use last step. However, you can actually set your own manual outputs. But what if, for example, I want to output the results of this website scrape as well as the link. So let's say the results of this JavaScript code step. Well, here I can go and I can create an output based on my website scrape.scraped. And then I can create a second output based on my .transform. So that's the code step that got the URL. And so now if I run this whole tool again, you'll see I now have two keys in my whole tool's output. The website scraped, which I mapped. Again, you can click here to see where you've mapped it to the website scrape step.scraped. And then we've got this JavaScript transformed, which returns this object with the URL in it, which is mapped obviously to javascript.transformed. And I can change this. So I could change this to URL if I want and save that. And I could change this to scraped contents and save that. Now, when you change the name of variables, you have to rerun the tool to generate at that new name. Let me rerun, and fantastic. So I have my scraped contents and my URL. So there you go. I've covered a whole bunch of concepts when it comes to passing data around in the tool builder with outputs. Some really complex stuff that is pretty hard to figure out yourself. So this video is long overdue. Thanks so much for watching.